20 minutes of useless Fortnite competitive facts. This is a video by my boy Paris, so make sure you guys go check him out in the link in the description down below. Subscribe to this channel if you guys are new. Please just go Kdog in the item shop and let's check it out.
Of the many different gaming organizations that have assigned players to play Fortnite over the years, only 4 have ever participated in the 4 major lands held over the span of Fortnite competitive. First is Team Liquid, who had
Liquid
Ed an Invitational 2022, Persa an Invitational 2023, and both Ed and Persa in the 2024 Invitational. Second is Crazy.
Bro, wait, did you guys see, hold on, I'm gonna show you guys Vivid at the, I saw Vivid right here. Yeah, Vivid 2019 World Cup. Who remembers OG Vivid, bro? Like, Vivid's a commentator now on like the broadcast and everything. I think he's like an analyzer, but bro, Vivid back in the day was literally like the best player I've ever watched.
Persa an Invitational.
Vivid was crazy.
And both Ed and
I don't know too much about Persa though.
Second is Crazy Raccoon, who had Takamura.
I don't even know what this org is.
Participate in their respective.
Is this
Third is FaZe Clan, who had Mongrel.
I saw Job on there though.
Participate in their respective.
Dang, bro.
And finally,
bro, FaZe went from having 7 people in 2019 to just King in 2022, and then just Epic Whale. Like, we need more orgs back in Fortnite, man.
Participate in their respective lands. And finally, Loop Boy, now known as Ite, had Scram, Belusi, and Flixie participate in their respective land tournaments, so crazy consistency on the part of the orgs here. Fortnite competitive is one of the highest paid esports in gaming history, with a total of $190 million being given away throughout its various tournaments over the years. This ranks it second among all esports in the entire world. With $190 million has given away more prize money than Fortnite.
Does that think 365 million for only 5,000 players? And they've had like 400 less tournaments too. Wait, hold on. Let me turn off my camera so you guys can see this. Bro, they've literally had 4,000 less players and almost 400 less tournaments. But they've given away like double of Fortnite almost.
And keep in mind,
that's actually
almost
insane.
None of this prize pool in Fortnite has ever been funded by the players. So just imagine how much higher this number could be if Epic gave players a way to directly contribute to the
That would be insane, but I don't think Fortnite's ever going to do that.
Of money, let's talk about some of the highest earners in Fortnite. As stated earlier, Fortnite has been running tournaments for 7 years now, and in those 7 years, 19 total players have earned over $1 million,
Booga,
with 12 of those players actively playing in some form to this
day. Wait, who quits from this list? So Som, I think Som quit like shortly after like World Cup. Like, he literally made a bag off World Cup, played for like 2 more seasons, then dipped. Anas made a bunch of money from the Mr. Beast Cup, right? Nyrox, Wolfies, Rojo, Sav, Zate. Dang, bro. There's some OGs. Wait, who's the closest on there? That means that Malibuka, Malibuka is down here 21st. He's almost at a mil. I think after this grand finals, Malibuka is also at a mil.
In some form to
so there's like 20 people now.
The highest earned of these players is of course Booga, sitting at 3.7 million as of now. While the highest earned player not actively playing is Som, who
World
quit
Cup,
in late
man.
2019.
Bro, Fortnite needs another World Cup. That would be so hype.
And of the 19 Fortnite millionaires, Miro is the latest addition to that list. But how do these players make so much money? What tournament has the largest prize pool in Fortnite history?
World Cup.
Well, that unsurprisingly belongs to the 2019 World Cup, which had a $40 million prize pool split across 3 days.
Bro.
And to this day, the $3 million grand prize for winning the World Cup solos is the biggest individual prize ever given out in esports history. With prize pools
that's the biggest in esports history? I thought that would just be like the biggest in Fortnite history. I didn't know that was the biggest in esports history.
So what is the most viewed?
Almost a million viewers on that.
Well, that of course is the 2019 Fortnite World Cup, which peaked at over 2.33 million concurrent viewers. Second to this is the
World Cup was insane.
Celebrity Pro-Am, which peaked at over 1.97 million viewers.
Hey, I wonder what this Pro-Am's gonna. We have the Pro-Am in like 3 days. I don't think it's gonna hit 1.9 million peak viewers, but I wonder what it's gonna get to.
As the recent 2024 FNCS Global
this one was hyped
was
too.
the 3rd most viewed tournament of all time, peaking at over 800,000 concurrent viewers. So while Fortnite esports may not be near its 2019 highs, it is nowhere near dead like some doomers might have you believe. Being such a widespread game, Fortnite esports has participants from many countries of the world. Of the thousands of tournaments recorded, 108 countries.
And let me know when you guys see your country here. What country are you guys from? Let me know down below.
With the United States unsurprisingly
50 million earned from the US.
With almost 50 million earned across all of its players, which is 26% of the total prize money given out across all Fortnite tournaments. Understandable, since the US is such a large country along with having a large Fortnite player base, which makes it all the more impressive that Denmark, a country with less
Hey,
than 6
Denmark just got their first FNCS win too. I think this was made before
has
Grants.
earned over 7.3 million total
Shout out
across
Marius, bro.
all of its
Shout out
recorded
Marius.
players. Truly phenomenal for such a small country. Fortnite is an industry leader in many ways when it comes to esports, and one such way is the age floor to compete. In most of the games, players must be at least 16, but usually 17 or 18 to compete.
Hey,
However,
you have to be
Fortnite was the
18 to
first
just
ever game
compete
make
in some
all official
games?
tournaments open to anyone 13 and older in early 2019. And since then, many games have followed in reducing their age floors to compete, with Rocket League even meeting Fortnite and allowing 13-year-olds to compete.
That's good
because
then, bro.
Epic Games bought them out. So Fortnite
makes
has
sense.
many young superstars, with some even being part of the elusive $1 Million Club. But who was the youngest Fortnite millionaire? Well,
I actually
want to
know that. Who is that?
Who became a Fortnite
Wolfies,
millionaire
yeah.
at
Now
just
Wolfies
15
was
years and
controller
7 months
too.
old,
Wolfies
after
was
he
was
placed second in the
crazy, bro.
2019 Fortnite World Cup
Second in World Cup on controller. I think that was like far and away better than any other controller player at Worlds. Because like I remember like
finally,
Unknown
to
Army
end
got
off
like
the World Cup
80th or
centered
something in
facts,
solos.
There are the commemorative trophies that appeared in the actual game itself after the tournament concluded. As a nod to the winners of the World Cup, Epic Games put trophies at the in-game drop spots of the players who won the World Cup. Being
That's
a
pretty
trophy,
cool.
a lucky
I think I
landing
remember
for
this
Booga,
actually.
and
Yeah,
2
Booga,
trophies.
dang,
A
bro.
very nice gesture on Fortnite's part.
If you guys
Just
know
like
about
how Booga
Aqua
and nice
nowadays,
gesture
bro,
on
oh
your
my
part to
goodness.
subscribe to my YouTube
What
channel
a
and
fall
join the
from
top
grace for
1%
Aqua,
of
man.
people who are subscribed, if you so wish. If you knew those facts, good on you. But the amount of obscure
number
knowledge
10.
will only increase from here. Let's talk about the early days of Fortnite competitive, before Epic even hosted
I remember
their own
this,
tournaments.
the
Did you know
snipe
that
lobbies,
Daquan
bro?
was the
Oh
winner
my
of the
goodness.
first ever- Back in December of 2017, many streamers got together and played a couple of custom solo matches to see who was the best. And when all said and done,
Daquan, bro.
Daquan
This is
came
when
out on
Daquan
top,
put his
winning
name on
2
the
of
map, man.
matches.
Who remembers
But some may
Daquan
not
from
count
back in
such
the
an
day,
obscure
man?
tournament since it was community hosted in a time where only streamers were competing. So who was the winner of the first ever Epic hosted tournament? Well,
That
title goes to
was-
an Australian Xbox player.
I
named
did not
Ruthless,
know who that was.
who
I thought it
placed
was
first in the solo showdown.
like more
As
Gossy.
for Epic hosted tournaments played in set lobbies, there was the Summer Skirmish.
I think that was like the
Summer
first
Skirmish was a
big
strange
name
time.
person I remember
After all,
winning.
it was the infancy in Fortnite competitive. iDrop's Bodies was the first ever
I remember
console
this
player
guy.
to ever
He was
win
crazy.
a major tournament when he placed first in the Summer Skirmish.
Didn't a lot of
League
people
2.
say he was like
And to
cheating
this
or
day,
something?
He's the only console player to have ever won a major Fortnite tournament.
Yeah,
And
winning on
topic of
console is
first evers,
insane.
The first ever female player to win a tournament was Tina, who won the 2019 TwitchCon LAN alongside Pika and Rux. This
Dang,
is
I do
something
not
that
remember
likely
this.
Many don't remember due to the obscurity of the tournament.
Yeah, I do not remember this.
If you knew about those then, you must be an OG. But now let's get into the FNCS era of Fortnite. Since August
Okay.
2019, Fortnite has been hosting a recurring seasonal tournament known as FNCS.
What are
And
we at,
because it has been
26
going
now,
on
I
for so
think?
long,
Kanata
there are
squad
many
for every
obscure
one of them?
statistics from all the tournaments that I doubt many of you even know about. Like
Alright,
how in
let's
every
see.
single FNCS in Fortnite history across all regions, only one team of full controller players has ever won. In the
Really?
Chapter 2 Season 8 Grand Finals.
Yeah,
OC,
I mean, bro, controller's
Spiker,
just like
Fabs,
it
and
had its
Kdog
little
placed
run there,
first,
but like controller is
becoming the
just full
first and
cooks
only
now,
team
man.
of all controller players
Like,
to win an
I mean, I guess
FNCS.
Reet just got
Speaking
third in
of controller
grands.
players, of the 20 Grand Finals tournaments held so far in NA East and NA Central, 50% have been won by a team with a controller player in it.
Oh, wow.
This is in stark contrast to EU.
What?
Which has
That's like
never
what,
had a
Miro?
controller
I think
player
Miro
ever
has
win
what,
an
6 of
FNCS
those,
Grand
though?
Finals,
And
with
then
the
who else
closest
has one,
being
like-
Teeny, who placed second on two
Who else
separate
has them on
occasions
NA?
not too long ago. But
Yeah.
now let's pivot to some crazy facts about the individual.
Oh, I guess
winners.
Arkham and
As it
Reed
stands
did,
now,
but that's on
The
West.
longest ever FNCS win streak is held by 3 players: Epic Whale, Arkham, and Rex, who won
Was that
4
4?
separate FNCS Grand Finals tournaments in a row.
Dang, bro. Pollo could have broken this record, man. Pollo had 4 in a row
During
also.
the first era of trios,
He
in
was so
Fortnite
close to
competitive.
getting that 5X,
Now,
man.
winning consecutive
Well, not this
FNCS
Grants. He plays like
tournaments is
5th.
very
But
impressive. But what about the players who win non-consecutive ones? Well, the longest gap between FNCS wins is actually a tie between 2 players, Aqua and Avery. Aqua won the Season X Grand Finals and
yeah,
the Chapter
Aqua
3
Aqua
Season
used to
2
have to
Grand
take like
Finals,
mad
while
breaks because
Avery
it was
won the
like
Chapter 2
hands or
Season 1
something.
and the Chapter 3 Season 3 Grand
Commandment
Finals.
was crazy that
Both
Grand
tournaments
Finals.
had a
You
gap
guys
of
remember that?
980
Dang.
days between them, meaning both players won FNCS 2.5 years
Dang,
after winning
that's
their first
insane.
one.
That's
On the
actually
topic
insane.
of winners, there is the most FNCS wins of all time. Currently,
Miro?
this title is a 3-way tie between Epic Whale, Arkham, and Miro, who all had
2
6
Wests
to
and
their
then
name.
Miro.
Next
And then
in
Peter's
line
at
was
5
Kason,
now.
Pijin, and King, who have 5
Yep,
today.
Peter's on that 5
Most
list
of these
now.
winners keep to
Peter
one
will
region
probably
for
break
all
that
their
record by
careers,
like.
but in Fortnite history,
Do
there
we
have been
think
2
Peter's gonna
players
break
who
the
have won
record by this
FNCS
year?
in
I don't
multiple
know.
regions.
Maybe.
Muzz was the first to achieve
I don't know
this,
about that, though.
winning the Chapter 2 Season 6 Grand Finals on OCE and the Chapter 2 Season 8 Grand Finals on NAE.
Then he got dropped.
While Swizzy was the second ever player to achieve this, winning the Chapter 2
Swizzy's crazy,
Season
bro.
8 Grand Finals in Asia and then winning the Chapter 4 Season 3
Dude,
Grand
he went
Finals
from Asia and like dominating on Asia to literally just dominating on EU, like
EU.
so fast.
Now, in order to do well in FNCS, you need to perform well in your games. So who is historically the best performer in FNCS? Who wins the most games? As of now, that title is held by Queasy,
Dang,
who
by
has
like
28
6 whole
game
matches
wins to his
too.
name, which is far ahead of anyone else
Yeah.
as of now.
Reed's
Fortnite is
up
a
there.
game that caters to young players, which by proxy means its competitive scene is young, but that doesn't mean older players can't win. The oldest FNCS winner of all time is Speedy, who won the Chapter 2 Season 6 Grand Finals on
23?
OCE at 23 years
Oh my
and 7 months
goodness.
old.
I did not know
But
Speedy
isn't
was
even
that old
close
when he
to the
won.
oldest FNCS qualifier, a Japanese player whose name I cannot pronounce,
30?
who qualified for the
Oh my
Chapter 5 Season 3 Grand
gosh.
Finals in Asia at 30
Wait, I think I
years and
low-key
5
remember
months
this
old,
guy.
which is just crazy to think about.
Isn't he like a
Finally,
teacher or something?
Let's end it off with the players
That's
who have
crazy.
shown
30
insane
is crazy,
longevity.
though.
Only 3 players have qualified for every single major land
Wait,
in Fortnite
let
history.
me see if I can guess this. Epic Whale, maybe not Clicks. It might be Clicks. And then I have
Being
no clue who
Clicks,
the last one
Epic
be.
Whale,
Oh,
and King.
King.
This
Dang.
includes
All right, so I
both
got 2
World
out of
Cup
the 3.
solos and World Cup duos, by the way. So players like Thomas HD and Booga, who missed out on the double World Cup qualification, don't make it on this very exclusive list.
Dang,
And
Booga didn't make it to
finally, out of the
duos?
24 FNCS Grand Finals in Fortnite's entire history, only 1 player has qualified for all of them, and that is Kdog.
Kdog, yep.
Crazy to
And
think
he's
that
still
for the
keeping that
past
streak
5
up.
years, Kdog has made every Grand Finals and
That's
FNCS
insane.
LAN.
Like, people talk about Booga's longevity all the time, but like Kdog is also
so how
up
many
there
of these facts have
with
you
probably
known?
one of like
Leave a comment below.
the best like longevity in all of Fortnite. All right, he actually made a part 2 to this video as well, so we're gonna watch 10 more minutes of useless competitive facts.
21 FNCS
Let's run this up, though.
actively playing Fortnite to this day. First is the winner of NA
Who's
West,
this?
Kdog, who moved to Japan and still actively plays in the Asian
Back
region
Dog?
as of now. Next is the Brazil winner of
I have
Quiz,
never heard
who
about that
seems
guy
to be more
before.
focused on trading meme coins than Fortnite.
Like a lot of
but he
pros?
still actively plays. After that is Malfin, who won in the Asia region, who managed to qualify to the most
I couldn't
recent
tell you
FNCS
anything
finals
about
as
any
well.
of these 3
And
people right
finally
here.
is the entire Middle East winning trio of Fahad, Yonks, and NM7, all of whom still play. With
Couldn't
Yonks
tell you
and
anything about
NM7
this trio
playing
either.
The most recent FNCS together and qualifying to Grands. Speaking of
Pretty
the
decent
season
then.
X FNCS winners, there is the EU winner of Shinken, who placed first in the one and only Grand Finals he played in, meaning that he is a
Bro, like, you have like, hold on, look at this. You have Stompy, who's like a pretty like known person in the community. Aqua, who's obviously super known, and then how did he say his name? Like Shinken or something? Like, dang, that's a very interesting
Grand
trio
Finals
right
win
there.
rate, the highest of any player. While
100%
Kdog
win
has the
rate in
lowest
Grands,
win
though.
rate
That's
of any
crazy.
Grand Finals winner, winning only 1 out of the 25 he has played in. Of the over 200 FNCS winners,
Dang.
only 5 have ever won in 3 or more game modes. Jinx was the first ever player to do this, winning Chapter 2
Yanis
Season
also.
2
I think
duos,
Yanis has
Season
won
3
every-
solos,
and then
Season
who else
4
is it?
trios on OCE. Next is Volks, who won
Volks,
Squad
okay.
FNCS 2021
So
solo
2
All-Stars
OCE
and the
people.
Chapter 3 Season 2 duos on OCE. He could also potentially become the only player to win in all 4 game modes if he manages to pick up a trios win this year. After Volks is
Yanis, yep.
who won the 2020 Solo Invitational, Chapter 2 Season 5 trios, and the Chapter 3 Season 3 duos on EU.
I mean, bro,
Following
Yanis doing that all on EU is
that is
insane.
King, who won Season 3 as solos, Season 6 of trios,
Oh, and King
the
did it.
2023 Major
Like,
2
it's all,
duos
like,
in
it's
Brazil.
3, like,
And
really
finally, is none
small-
other than Tayson himself,
Wait, Tayson also
who won
did it?
Season 3 solos, Season
He
4 trios, and
did.
the 2023 Major 1
I
duos
forgot
in
that he
EU.
won,
And
duos.
speaking of Tayson's duo FNCS win, it was one of the closest wins in FNCS
Yeah.
history.
I
coming
do
down
remember
to a
that now,
difference of
though.
only 1
Yeah, I
point.
forgot. It was
Many
so
other
close. Yeah,
FNCS
Thomas got
tournaments have
second in
come
that one,
down to
too.
some
Dang.
extremely tight margins as well. Despite that, there has never been a tied FNCS in any region over the past 6 years,
Oh,
which
wow.
is quite insane to think about.
Yeah.
Of the 22 regional FNCS tournaments that have been played on EU, only a single one has ever been won by a team with 0 game wins, being Malibuca and
That was Malibuca and
Mustache's
Mustache.
2024
Winning
Major
by
1.
1
And
point
it seems that winning
against
a solo
Queasy and
FNCS
Thomas.
on NA East and Middle East is the equivalent of a death sentence for one's own Fortnite career. as Middle
What?
East and NA East are the only two regions whose solo FNCS
Various
winners
Coop, Pam
have never
Stew.
won an FNCS later on in their careers. In
Wow.
every other region, at least one of the two solo FNCS winners later went on to win more in their careers. On the contrary,
Dang.
there has been some amazing comeback stories, like Commandments. In Chapter 3, Season 2, he placed dead last with Stretch, mostly because Stretch was halfway out the door with Fortnite at that point.
Yeah, and then he,
just
like,
wanted to
retired
grief
after
Death
that.
And Tabney. However,
Yeah.
Commandment was still motivated for
And
more,
he
managed
was
to win the
so
Season
insane
3
in that grand
FNCS
finals that he
with
won to. Like, we
a
watched
truly
it in the
remarkable
previous video.
comeback
Oh my
story.
gosh.
Speaking of
He was
comebacks,
insane.
the best comeback in FNCS history comes courtesy of King and Phaser on Brazil, who ended
Okay.
off day 1 of the Chapter 4
13th?
Season 3 FNCS in 13th place, a massive 187 points behind first place. But on day 2, he
Wow.
popped off and managed to rack up 437
And they finish in
points,
first.
enough to push him
That
all
is
the way
kind of
to first
crazy.
place,
Right over
making
Gone
this a
right there.
one-
Hey, we're about to watch Gone in the Pro-Am. So, hey, Gone is
First
crazy.
comeback in history for an FNCS win, but that is far from the largest comeback in general, a title that belongs to Andalex and Sato. In the Chapter 5 Season 2 Grand Finals in EU, Andalex and Sato ended off day 1 all the way down to 46th place, but rather than give up hope, they did this. They had a stellar day.
Oh, I
2
thought they
and ended off
won.
the
Okay, they
tournament
finished in
fifth
fifth.
place,
That's still
a jump of
insane.
41
46 to
spots. But
the
what makes
fifth
this
is
comeback
insane.
Even more remarkable is that they managed to snatch up the very last qualification.
And they
spot
qualified
for
to globals
globals
through it.
because of
Wow.
this clutch. So let's
That's
learn.
crazy.
Subscribe to my YouTube channel if you want to be
Yeah,
as
W
remarkable
Paris,
as
bro.
their
W
insane
Paris.
clutch. As of now, the title for the most FNCS wins is now a 5-way tie because of the most recent FNCS, with
Oh,
Paige,
okay.
Jin, and King now joining Epic Whale, Arkram, and Miro. Will they be the
Are they
first
all
to finally
6'2"?
break past 6? Probably. It's pretty obvious they will. But
Yeah.
despite the
King
dominance
will
these
probably
players
get to,
have
like,
shown, none of them
8
were actually
total
the first to
when he
win
retires,
back-to-back
maybe 9?
FNCS tournaments. That title is a tie that belongs to Jinx and Tayson, both of whom won Season 3 solos and Season 4 trios back-to-back.
Bro, the
Even better is sheer
Tayson,
dominance
Mitro,
King
and
Paige
Mongrel
have
trio,
over the
man.
Brazil region,
What a
though.
time that
Of
was.
the 22 regional FNCS tournaments played on Brazil, 11 of them, or 50% for the mathematicians in the audience, have been won by Jin or King. While that is
Dang.
embarrassing for the region of Brazil, that is no
Bro,
nearly as
that's
embarrassing as what
actually
happened
insane,
on NA West
hello?
in 2020. Epic Whale and Arkram to this day are the only two players who have ever won an FNCS on both controller and keyboard.
Dude,
Epic Whale was
this
the first
controller
to do it,
meta
swapping the
literally
controller
was
for
not
Season
fair.
2
It was
duos
actually
and
just
wreaking
aimbot.
havoc by flying
Like,
into
look at
people's
this.
boxes with the Midas drum gun.
Like, there was no brain. It was all just jump in with a drum gun.
Well, Arkram decided to switch to controller
my
a year later
gosh,
because
man.
NA West was too easy, and he of course won FNCS by doing so.
Yep.
You can even say both of them won an FNCS on controller before NA West controller legend Reed did. So let it sink in that Epic
Why
Games
is
split
Reed
NA
catching a
between
straight right
West and
there?
Central, leaving the roughly 40% of the US population that lives on the East Coast in the dust. But why dominate a region when you can just dominate the whole world? That is what Peterbot and Poyo did at the 2024 Global Championship,
Yeah.
getting the most victory royales ever at a major LAN event.
Wait, what is this? They got the most elims, most victory royales, 3 straight FNCS titles, more elims as a solo than any duo combined, most double-digit elims, and the
Alex
most wins
of
at a
OC
LAN.
is the
That's
youngest
insane.
FNCS winner of all time.
That is
winning
insane.
the 2021 Grand Royale at 13 years and 3 months old. So maybe it's time you leave your basement and do something productive. Wait, that's not what I meant.
Whoa.
Or maybe don't leave your basement and try to qualify to FNCS in your 30s.
Okay,
A little
there we go.
correction
Okay,
on my
there we
last
go.
Video, but the oldest ever FNCS qualifier is not actually the Japanese player with the unpronounceable name. That title was instead
Oh,
held
really?
by a Polish player named Evil, who qualified for it and placed 5th in squad FNCS at 31 years and 2 months
Wow.
old. So please stop calling me Unk because I'm 21 and make Fortnite videos. Unlike all regions of the world that are typically dominated by two
I
different
relate to that,
countries,
Paris. Don't worry,
EU
bro.
has participants from a myriad of countries, and of those nations, the United Kingdom currently has the most FNCS wins, with 7 total. Second
Damn.
place is a 3-way tie between Russia, Germany, and Austria. who
6,
each
7,
has
bro.
6 total.
Dang.
So while the World Cup and Euros may never come home for England, FNCS titles sure
Okay.
do.
Bro,
because we
he's
know that
throwing
Scotland and
mad
Wales will never get an
strays.
FNCS win. Despite Europe generally being regarded as the best region, the first major LAN win for EU was the World Cup duos. Even the 2019 ESL Katowice LAN that was 80%
Zayt and
EU
Zaf.
players was won by NA players in both solos
And hey, the
duos.
LANs are still
The one
getting
thing
won by
EU can
NA like
claim
all
is
the
first
time.
ever back-to-back
Peter,
game wins on
Miro,
LAN. In the first 2 games of the fall skirmish, Pate 1K and Dementos won back-to-back, going
I
on
don't
to
know who's
somehow
before
blow
that.
their lead and place 7th. But even earlier than that is
Maybe that
Vivid
was
becoming
EU.
the first ever back-to-back tournament winner in Fortnite history. history after he won the Summer Skirmish Week 4
There's
and
Vivid,
5.
man.
Former Minecraft PvP legend Tylers was the first ever person to get a double-digit kill game in a Fortnite tournament, getting a 10-kill win in the PAX West qualifiers.
That's
While Siphon
insane.
is unanimously loved by the Fortnite community, back in the early days it was actually pretty hated, with Tfue being one of the most outspoken.
Wait, Tfue didn't like
dissenters of
Siphon?
People that want health and mass per kill are people that want the game to die.
The 2018
What?
Winter Royale was the first
That
set
has to be one of the
open to all
worst
players
age
that qualified,
sentences.
And of the 200 players that qualified,
And
to
I
the
agreed with
finals
like a
in
lot
both
of things like
NAE,
Tfue used to say
only
back then
two of them
too.
are still
I do not
active to
remember
this
that
day,
though.
being Thomas HD and Cease. Cease in particular has had the longest tenure of any Fortnite pro, as he has been playing professionally since the earliest days all the way back in Chapter 1 Season 3, before
Wow.
there were even tournaments, and he has never
Chapter
quit or
1
taken a break,
Season
so
3.
definitely give him some props. The World Cup
Yeah, good for
qualifiers
Cease,
were
man.
originally supposed to happen in the fall of 2018, before Epic even hosted open tournaments and when the age for to compete was still 16. So just imagine how many young prodigies would have never made a name for themselves.
Yeah,
had Epic
Fortnite
not
like putting
postponed
the age down to
one very
13 to be able to
obscure fact
compete
about the
was
World Cup
so
is that
good for
China
them.
actually had their own
Because like
separate
literally like
qualifier.
all the best players back then were under 13, like Mongrel, I think Savage probably was, King like he just showed, like
which would net them
Clicks,
one
all of
spot.
them, they
Hence
were
why
like,
some Chinese
none of
players
them were
in
like
the World
16
Cup.
yet.
In the World Cup qualifiers, Stompy managed to qualify to the World Cup in 7 of the weeks, the most of any player. Of the qualifiers, King was the youngest at just 13 years and 3 months old.
Wow, I did not
while
know King
Airwalks
was that
is the
young.
oldest at 24 years and 10 months
24?
old, just barely
Oh my.
edging out Rux, who is 1 week younger than Airwalks. This also makes King the youngest major LAN qualifier of all time. When calculating
Damn.
who won the
He was
highest
crazy
percentage
at
of
World
their
Cup,
fights in
too.
the World Cup solos,
I remember he
Arco
like
comes
put
out on
down
top,
Tfue
who
like
won
3 games in a row.
56% of his fights, which shockingly even
Arco.
beat out Booga, who sits at a close second with the 52.47% fight.
Yo, why don't we get stats like this anymore? Wait, bro, this is one of like the coolest stats I've seen in a while. Like we got kin stats. Like
Right.
why don't we got these stats
Given
right
the insane
here?
amount of prize money given out in the World Cup, all of the highest earned orgs in Fortnite history are orgs that had players perform well at the World Cup.
That makes
What
sense.
is very unexpected is that Lazarus is the highest earned org in all of Fortnite, who had 3 of their players come out
Wow.
of the World Cup as millionaires.
That's
22 players managed to
insane.
qualify for both
If
the
they got a
solo
cut
and
of that
duo
too,
World Cup.
oh my
And
gosh,
of
that
those
org
22
absolutely
players,
bagged down.
Mongrel placed the most consistently, getting 13th in solos and 6th
in
in
duos.
duos, which
Damn.
averages out to a placement of 12.5. Because of the diversity of tournaments in 2019, it was the only year with a major tournament in all 4 game modes. with the
Papa
solo and
Bandage,
duo World
Extra.
Cup and trio and squad FNCS. The most viewed tournament POV is Tfue's World Cup Week 8, which peaked at over 289,000 viewers. And if you had a V-Buck for every time a duo of brothers played in the FNCS, you would actually have 2 V-Bucks. This happened twice when the X2
Jesse
twins
and Jordan,
played
yep,
multiple
X2
FNCS
twins.
finals together.
I
as
remember
well
I
as
used to
young
watch
Calc
them.
and
That
his
was
brother
like-
has a great playing in squad FNCS and NAEs in the same lobby. Subscribe and check out my
That's funny.
second channel or the other videos.
Dang,
on
what
this
is that?
channel.
It already? Hey, W Paris once again, man. Shout out to him. His links will be in the description down below. Remember, subscribe to this channel. Please go Kdog in the item shop. Appreciate all you guys for watching. Thank God for another day. Catch you guys next time. Peace out.